What's up, guys? It's Mr. Andrews here. I've got a couple quick announcements I wanted to go over before we started today's class. So first and foremost, let me tell you that you may be aware that we have changed the way school is going to be scheduled after spring break. All of the Mondays and Wednesdays of the week will be a gold day. All the Tuesdays and Thursdays will be a blue day. This is school-wide. Across the entire high school. The other thing to know is that we were going to a 4-day school week, which means that I'm only going to be meeting with you lovely people every Tuesday and Thursday after spring break, okay? Till spring break, the only thing that we're working on is finishing this first part of the senior project. So the senior project is a multi-part project, right? We're eventually going to write one longer paper, but until then, there are a couple steps we're going to do to get there. And the first step of that process is writing what's called the research proposal. So the last couple classes, we've been focused on finding a topic, mapping it out, developing a question for it, and now we're ready to start thinking about, okay, what kind of proposal do I want to write? Your research proposal does a couple things. One is it informs the reader about what exactly you're going to research. It provides a justification for why that should be researched, but it also should communicate how you're going to plan on focusing on your topic. What perspective are you going to look at it from? And then finally, it should ultimately tell the reader why you chose that topic in the first place. So I want to walk you through a quick sample of just what that looks like. So you can see here this sample paper on the right. I've got a little bit of annotation on the left. So the first thing you may notice is that there is really no title. It just says research proposal. But that here in the middle section, where there would be a title, there's a question. So this is your final research question. After we meet, whether it's through conferencing today, and by the way, sign up for one if you haven't yet, or if it is that on your own you were able to develop an open-ended question about your topic, you should have that right here in the middle. Now, your question should have 3 qualities. 1, it should be specific. 2, it should be open-ended or debatable. And 3, it should be asking about your topic from a particular perspective. Okay, so specific, debatable, and then it should have a perspective. So how does participation in performing arts positively affect a student's education life? That's what this person's asking. This is actually kind of a broad question. This actually would probably be one I would ask them to get a little more specific in. This is not a perfect example, guys, but that's what they placed there. Now, you'll notice right off the bat, they say I. It's okay to write in first person in this paper. Unlike other papers, this is a very personal statement. This is a proposal. And so in this very short paper, and by the way, it's very short, we're talking just a page or two, you're going to basically just be talking to me directly. And so it's okay to speak as I in this paper. So what they're doing in this first section is what we call the what section. The what section describes what you're doing, what you're proving, what you're arguing, what you're discussing. Think of this as you're laying out your goals for research. What are you thinking you're going to say with this paper? Obviously, you're going to try to answer the question, but what are you trying to prove? Are you trying to solve a problem? Are you trying to understand something? Are you trying to motivate readers to do something? Like, what outside of answering the question is your ultimate goal for this paper? The other thing you should do is start including some relevant data here. You'll notice that they include some factoids, like due to economic recession, many public schools have had budget cuts. In fact, more than 95% of American students go to schools that faced budget cuts. So this example, they're bringing in some of that background information that you should have been looking at, and they're starting to put that into a reason why they should research this question, right? You should be doing the same thing. This first part is not just about describing your goals then. It's also about providing what background is inspiring you to research this problem. What background information shows that this is a question that needs answering, okay? So that's what you're doing here. The second section is called the how section. You may notice that one went on for a long time, right? That's usually the longest section, is the what section. What are you researching? What are your goals? What research background justifies it? The next section is the how section. The how section is where you use categories from your concept map to talk about how you're going to approach this question. So how you're going to approach this question may have to do with what discipline you chose. For example, let's say you were interested in climate change, but you specifically wanted to look at climate change from its economic standpoint, right? So that's what you're going to mention here. This is the how section. For my senior project, I will focus on 4 lenses: educational, economical, demographic, and cultural social. That's a lot of lenses, actually. I would recommend 1 or 2. Again, this is not a perfect example. This student could actually do better by maybe just having 2 lenses that they're looking at this from. Maybe they could just focus on it from an economic and a cultural standpoint. I would recommend having only 1 or 2, right? But what you want to do here is talk about why that particular perspective is going to be a helpful one for looking at this question through. So why would it be important, for instance, to look at climate change from an economic standpoint in order to answer your question, right? So choosing what perspective you're going to look at the issue through. The final section then is the most personal. It's the why section. In the why section, you explain exactly why you wanted to research this. Now, it could go anywhere from I was really interested in this topic to I had an experience to this is something I'm just really passionate about, or I just came across this by accident, and you know what, I'm hooked. Whatever the case is, you are providing just some simple explanation about what is your own personal history with this topic, what are your own personal feelings about it. Know that you're going to have to put those feelings aside because this is a research-based piece, but this is the one place where you really get to get personal with it and talk about why you personally are interested in pursuing this topic. So as you can see here, a lot of I involved in it. So those are the 3 pieces here. If we were to break this down even more simply, let me just show you real quick. This is what it would look like. And while this isn't something I'm prescribing to you guys to use, this is something you might do on your own as you're beginning to think about and plan for writing this. And we're just going to be writing this next week on Tuesday and Thursday. You want to begin thinking about the 3 sections and what you want to say in each. So what is your goals, right? What are you planning on doing or proving or arguing in your paper? Secondly, what is some relevant data or background information that you've already found that you could add into this to maybe provide some basis for your question? The second part then is maybe start planning out and sketching out how are you planning to approach this. If you look back at your concept map, what were some of the approaches or perspectives that you were planning on using for your topic? And finally, the why section. What are some of the personal or personal reasons why you are planning on approaching and researching this topic? Guys, I wish you the best of luck and stay in touch.